DeadDraw versus Mysterious. That's the upcoming series, and it looks to be quite a spicy one. Fighting words from both of the guys. They're obviously preparing themselves mentally to go into this matchup, and it definitely bodes well. What are your initial thoughts on this second game?
Well, it's a veteran versus a newcomer. That's always a great storyline to go into it. Mysterious, being here from the beginning, always does a top 4 finish. DeadDraw, first season, first LAN event, first finals. What else can you say? The guy has been miraculous in what he's done.
Yeah, it really is crazy. I think, James, as well, what's your input in that in terms of his rise to fame, right? Because we saw a lot of ladder work, and it did seem good from an outside perspective, but now in a LAN environment, where's he shining? What has really been the key points to take away from what DeadDraw's brought to the table?
So basically, his lineup is quite good against aggro decks, but it does consist of decks that he mainly plays on ladder. It's mostly his comfort picks or comfort decks, I presume. He has got that control priest that no one else has, and basically, ladder is a lot different to tournaments. Like, you can be really good at one deck on ladder, but that doesn't mean you're good in tournaments, because in tournaments you have to bring multiple decks. You can't just be good at one deck and that can win you the tournament. You just have to be very diverse and versatile.
Diverse and versatile. Demo, in terms of their versatility, the two men that are now up on stage, prepared to get underway with this series. What is going to be that kicker? What are you hoping to see come out when we get into the action there between the two sides? Because for Mysterious, this is going to be a big deal for him, right? He's wanted to try and get higher and higher up. The amount of times we've seen him so close to the goal, never been able to fully make it. In a series versus DeadDraw, this is where he's going to need to try and really give it his A game. Yeah,
Mysterious, this is his time to shine.
Yeah.
You can see that his teammate just did lose, but not out yet. But of course, you know, Mysterious, this is where he's finally looking at it and saying, hang on a minute, I can maybe go ahead and take this entire tournament equally. DeadDraw speaking to him, spoke to him today. I was like, how you feeling? How you feeling? He's like, nervous, but I'm ready to go. That's all you need, really, is that mentality where he is just in the game, focused. And a perfect point that James did say is it's all about being able to be flexible, being able to adapt to situations, and then that's where we see the best Hearthstone players in the world come into play.
That adaptability, obviously, you never know what is going to happen. It is the heart of the cards you have to trust in, and it always comes down to just getting the luck of the draw there. So, we do actually have the picks and bans now prepared for this series. I believe we can check out what exactly is going to be going on in this one.
So Mysterious, like Toastmaster, his teammate, actually has a very aggressive lineup. He doesn't have the exact same decks that Toastmaster has, but he has the same concept to beat the Quest Rogues and the mid-rangey decks. So he does have the Token Druid, the Mid-Spell Hunter, the Odd Paladin, and the Odd Rogue, whereas DeadDraw has quite a good anti-aggro lineup. He consists of decks that he likes. He has the Control Priest, of course, Tog Druid, Evenlock, and Odd Warrior. And we do see the Odd Warrior being banned out by Mysterious.
Yes.
Once again.
They must have listened to us and kind of saying, please ban it, and they have, so I'm quite happy about that.
You know, you got to do what you can. You got to get them in there.
No 2-hour series, which is always fun.
Oh, mate, exactly. You got to try and get these a bit more snappy. They have actually been a whole lot quicker.
Yeah.
Especially if we look at the last series, right? First semi-final of the day, what we went into with that was
turn sec win.
Very, very, very snappy.
It took 5 minutes for Toast to win. Quickest game we've had all tournament.
Yeah. That is absolutely wild. But they will be getting themselves prepared and getting underway with the action here. Mysterious, for me, I just want to see where he's going to be able to really take his placement this event overall, because he's been improving. It just looks like it's been fantastic for him. In terms of his confidence walking into this one as well, he seems stone cold. Seems like nothing's really been affecting too much. DeadDraw, he's had his ups and downs, but he's very hard to read. In terms of emotional style, we never really know how he's feeling.
No.
And that's one of the hardest things to gauge.
Yeah. So Mysterious is actually one of those players that is quite versatile and flexible. Like, when I play against Mysterious in the Prem, I never really know what he's going to bring. Sometimes he brings like really aggressive lineups like he does now, but sometimes he brings really weird out-of-meta decks that are just good specifically against your opponent that you play in the weaker Swiss. So Mysterious, I think the main reason that he's managed to do well in every season of the Prem is this adaptability and flexibility. I don't think, I mean, of course he has to be a good player to make it this far, but I don't think that his play is anything above all the other players who have made it to the Prem. I think it's just the reason he plays so high is because he manages to adapt to his opponents.
And now with that, James, would you say then, in terms of the adaptability there, that could actually be something that comes back to hurt a player like DeadDraw, where it is a little bit more based off the comfort picks, where he plays within his sort of boundaries? If you're not able to adapt on the fly and sort of be able to rethink outside that strategy in that environment, could that punish him?
It definitely could punish him, but I expect that DeadDraw, since he's brought these decks, he's very comfortable playing these decks against basically anything. So even if he's unfavored in the series, not saying he is this series, but in like previous series against like Paradox, he wasn't that favored, but he still managed to put up a fight. The games did go to mainly game 4s, game 5s, because he knows his matchups ins and outs, and if it's unfavorable, he can still get that win.
Yeah, get that win in. So Demo, going into this matchup between Mysterious and DeadDraw, who is going to be the favorite for you? Who are you looking at here to pick up the victory?
I've said it since the start, I'm always going to back DeadDraw. I love the whole storyline that he has, and if he goes ahead and wins this whole thing, boy, that's pretty strong for him. And I just like the way that, you know, he's young, he is making big boundaries already. Potentially could take James' spot in the HGG. Could be another possibility. I don't think you'd like that, James.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't like that, but the UK wins, then I'm happy with anything.
Well, obviously, because James is going to BlizzCon. Oh, wait, Bulgaria!
Oof.
But we are ready for the action. We're going to be getting underway. It's DeadDraw versus Mysterious. Let's get into this one.
So, James, we will be moving into our first match of this series between DeadDraw and Mysterious. It will be that priest that DeadDraw has taken religiously this entire time. Nobody's banned out against them. And then you can see Mysterious there going with his Hunter as well. And one thing that I wanted to add on about seeing the priest, I think this is where this priest really comes in the shine, because typically we've seen this priest face off against your Odd Warriors and all the different control type matchups. The way that Mysterious is bringing very hot aggro, this is where this deck does work.
Yeah, definitely. The control priest, he even has cards such as Giggling Venter in the deck to be good against these aggro matchups. So DeadDraw very happy to have queued into Mysterious, who has a full aggressive lineup, and DeadDraw has built his priest to be very good against this.
So a nice opening hand there for Mysterious, as the Rexar, of course, is always going to be that big one. And against the control priest, yeah, that value is going to be the real big push over that final hurdle for Mysterious. Looking at DeadDraw in his hand, you know, he has Alexstrasza, but once again, this is the same thing that he ran into yesterday, was he just can't find his Anduin ever on curve. He could just never find it.
Yeah, he definitely couldn't find the Anduin. Though in this matchup specifically, you don't really need Anduin on curve. You just have to deal with the early game that Mysterious puts down, because he is the more aggressive hunter. Though Mysterious does have late game potential with this Rexar, though the Priest has a lot of hard removal in the deck, such as the Psychic Scream. It's not really hard removal, it just basically puts the minions back into your opponent's deck, so they're not currently in play. But DeadDraw did draw the Cleric and decided to play down the Twilight Acolyte on turn 3, just so that this Crackling Razormaw can't trade into the Cleric, because he does want to continue drawing cards.
Who to shoot?
So Mysterious just thinking about what kind of options he can go for. Can go for the Crackling Maw. Could have potentially went for the bow as well if he wanted, just to get a simple clear off the board for DeadDraw. He gets a couple of options there. No Wind Fury. Does get the +3 attack, which is always pretty spicy to have.
Definitely. The +3 attack here enables him to kill off Northshire Cleric if he chooses so. Could also pick the Poisonous, which will also do the same thing. I think he's just going over the options right now. If he goes for attack, he can just trade it into the Twilight Acolyte as well, and this 3-2 Crackling Razormaw does once again contest the Northshire Cleric.
Still, I see a good bit of options for Mysterious. He has some secrets to buff up that Spellstone, but then again, we know that another great counter, we were talking about it earlier, where Evenlock is really good against a Spellstone because they have Hellfire. Equally, DeadDraw and his Priest is good against that as well, because you do see that Dustbreaker, which is essentially going to be a Hellfire, but you don't get hurt.
Yep, definitely you don't get hurt, which is amazing, because against aggro decks, every damage matters. So Mysterious just opts to go for the Secret Keeper plus the Snake Trap, just to buff up its Spellstone a bit more, because I think he might potentially be playing the Spellstone down next turn. Though if he does play the Spellstone down, he is very weak to the Dustbreaker, as you just said. So I'd like to see him maybe hold on to the Spellstone for a bit longer and try bait out the removal.
So you can see one Mind Blast being picked up by DeadDraw. So he is going to start getting in that burst. And we said that this matchup that DeadDraw has, where typically every single time we've seen him play this Priest yesterday, he either faced a Warrior or he either faced a Druid, which was very tough. We know that the type of playstyle where DeadDraw wants to burst down his enemy as quickly as they can. With having that armor gain that Warrior and Druid have, it makes it a whole lot harder for the Priest to start bursting in. The fact that as well, that this is a Hunter who does not have any form of armor gain and any form of life gain, unless we can see some Build-A-Beast coming out from Rexar, then this is definitely a more favored matchup for DeadDraw in most circumstances.
Yes, most definitely. So Mysterious choosing to just equip the Eagle Hornbow and hit face there. Like, as the aggro player, of course, you just want to push as much damage as possible. And also attacking with the weapon charge because he is scared of the gluttonous ooze in DeadDraw's deck. And Subject 9 is actually quite a good pickup here. It's just a decently statted minion. Just puts a bit more pressure on the board. Thins the deck a bit more to enable him to draw into his closing cards, such as kill commands.
See also that one Giggling Inventor that DeadDraw does run inside of his deck, which he specifically has put that there because of all the aggro that's running around. Didn't get any use of it yesterday because we said that, yeah, didn't face any aggro, just faced the majority of the long control matchups. So that's going to be a lot better of a card to try and slow down a potential lethal push that Mysterious could set up. We know that Hunter does have a lot of that effects. You know, you can already look at it. There's 5 damage on board, and you know, get kill commands, and even Rexar could get a couple of chargers. A lot of ways for Mysterious to push this lethal damage.
Oh, definitely. So Mysterious here, just going over his options. He could have 2 options. Maybe sometimes you do want to get that Rexar down if you're running out of resources, just to generate these Build-A-Beast minions. The best ones you can get are the stealth ones because they're very hard to interact with from the Priest end. But Mysterious still have cards in hand that he can play. Besides go for the Bear Shark and the Animal Companion. You've already seen one Psychic Scream being used. You just want to draw out a bit more removal. That's why maybe like a Dustbreaker. If he's seen a Dustbreaker, then he's very free to just play down this Spellstone. And that's the only reason, really, why he's holding back onto that. Another Spellstone being drawn, so this enables Mysterious to play more freely with the first Spellstone, since he does have the second one to back it up if the first one does get cleaned up. Here you can just try both minions into the Primordial, try clean that off. You can play a Secret and you can play the Spellstone, but Mysterious here actually just opts to go for Rexar. He just thinks that he needs to start building beasts, potentially, every single turn.
Let's see what he gets from his first craft. There's the Bloatbat that we always talked about, James. It's good use of a board clear.
Yeah,
poisonous with it as well.
Bloatbat's quite good against decks that, or if you're in like a really dire position where you have to go for the Hail Mary play of just getting the Bloatbat, the poisonous, and just clearing the board. But against Priest, they don't really spread wide in minions, and I really like the Cave Hydra here because Cave Hydra deals with medium-sized balls really well since its effect. And also, it's quite a well-stacked minion, 3 mana 2/4, meaning you can just pick something in addition.
Plus being attached, I believe, to an Ironford Grizzly as well. That gives it an extra bit of buff there. And there comes that Giggling Inventor that we did talk about, which could nullify some of that damage that Mysterious could try and push on through. And of course, DeadDraw always has to play around cards like Kill Command, like Eaglehorn Bow. Still plenty of options for Mysterious. Can go ahead and craft another beast if he chooses so, which that's more than likely what he's going to keep doing, is press the button, build a beast, play the beast, and then make another one.
Yeah. Though Mysterious is getting pretty full, his hand is getting pretty full. He really does want to just play down these Spellstones eventually, since he does have 2, and the Spellstone itself is just a really strong card just to play. It just forces DeadDraw to remove the board. And DeadDraw doesn't really want to do that right now since he does have board presence of his own.
See what he crafts. There's another Cave Hydra, which we're not likely he's going to go for, and a lifesteal is always handy.
Yep, the Echo Rush is also very good. It means that he can play 2 of them on turn 10, and it seems like he does go for that option.
Gives it Rush as well, which is you know, just instant board clear. Goes out all in essentially here on this board, and we know straight away what's going to happen to this is it's just going to go ahead and get destroyed by that Duskbreaker. Has activation still from Alexstrasza, which hasn't been played as of yet. There hasn't been any chance for DeadDraw to actually go ahead and play that big old dragon into effect.
So this is quite nice by DeadDraw. He attacks into the Misha with the Giggling Inventor. Since it's a freezing trap, he gets that back, so he can play that later on to try stall out the game a bit more. And also he leaves up both of the Anointrons with the Divine Shields up, so they will survive the Duskbreaker, though he will probably have to trade one in to break the Misha's own Divine Shield.
Yeah, he's going to go for that. So he does lose one of them, but you know, could be worse. It's a lot worse. So that is going to be the first bit of board clear that really DeadDraw's had to put the pressure on, where he has to just simply go for that. So it allows Mysterious then to refill with these Cave Hydras and just instantly clear the board, because we know how good that's going to be against a very wide board that DeadDraw is going to try and establish here at this stage. So I'd imagine this is going to be just double Hydra.
Yeah, we'll most likely see the Cave Hydra come down because it does clean up the minions quite nicely. It was very good positioning by DeadDraw. He plays around this Cave Hydra very well, since he plays all the small minions together, meaning that his Twilight Drake won't get damaged by the first Cave Hydra attack, meaning it will survive one more turn.
Yeah, that it will. So another Duskbreaker as well going to be picked up by DeadDraw, so another form of board clear that he can implement if anything gets a little bit too out of hand. Mysterious has kept this coin the entire way through the game as well.
Yep, it could be useful later on if he decides to make, say, a 6-mana beast plus a 5-mana beast. You can play both of them on the same turn. And as DeadDraw here, you're not in a great spot since you don't have the Anduin up. You can't start pressuring the Rexar, since the Rexar can just keep building a beast. Eventually, you're just going to go into those lifesteal beasts, and it'll just make it a bit harder for DeadDraw to end out this game if he doesn't draw the Anduin relatively soon.
Yeah, still not being able to draw that Shadow Reaper Anduin, which is the whole point of DeadDraw bringing the Priest, is because we know how strong that card is. Not as strong as what it once was with his involvement with Raza. Good times back then.
Not as strong as back then, but in this Control Priest deck, it's still a very good card.
It's still seen a good lot of rise. I believe that the addition of Alexstrasza really does help with that burst, and that goes Alexstrasza into play. Creates a big minion that Mysterious is going to have to deal with, potentially just a quick poisonous rush minion could deal with that. If he gets a Skitterer, would be, I believe, ideal from that.
This kill command is actually a really big pickup, because now he can just kill command the Alexstrasza. He can trade his Cave Hydra into the Twilight Drake, meaning Cave Hydra survives and also just picks off the Alexstrasza. And he can also just develop maybe a Spellstone or make another beast, just whatever he really likes.
Probably make another beast. He could just go for the make a beast and then potentially get a poisonous and keep the kill command for a lethal push potentially as well. He can go for that. It's always better just seeing what you get. Bitter Tide's always fun, and there's a Skitter that I was talking about, so we don't know what he did pick first, if it was a big Bitter Tide and then he can't really go for that play. If it was something smaller, then sure, by all means.
As Mysterious, you really do want to pick up these lifesteal minions relatively soon, because you are at 15 HP, and you know that DeadDraw does have access to 20 damage even without Anduin if he does pick up 4 Mind Blasts. And at this point, you could be wondering, DeadDraw probably has one Mind Blast already. He hasn't played any Shadow Visions yet, so you know you're not going to be dead this turn unless he does have, say, the Holy Fire double Mind Blast. That is 15 exact damage, but DeadDraw doesn't have that. That would be the only way that Mysterious would have died.
You can see that Mysterious does decide to leave open that Alexstrasza, mostly because he has that Wandering Monster, which then Alexstrasza just gets traded into, and if DeadDraw doesn't go for the punch to the face, then obviously it will just be an easy clear up from that Divine Shield Cave Hydra more than anything else.
So this is a Wandering Monster, so the Alexstrasza won't be able to connect to face, and the Mysterious knows that there's no charge minions in DeadDraw's deck, so he's not really afraid of this Alexstrasza right now. He can just clean up next turn.
First Mind Blast gets expended out there by DeadDraw, so it leaves Mysterious in just about 10 HP there. It's very scary territory for Mysterious. He needs to get those lifesteal minions like you discussed. Potentially, I would say probably the best one would be
Cave Hydra Rush.
A Vicious Skill High plus a Cave Hydra is probably the best, because then
that's
you get
the most healing you can get out of
that's 4. That's 4 attack, and then you heal every time. And plus 4 is always a good attack against a priest. Subject no?
Yeah, Subject 9, you've already... this is the second Subject 9 because it did get Psychic Screamed back in deck earlier, and you also have drawn most of your secrets already, so even if you play Subject 9 here, it's not doing much. Maybe you draw 1 or 2 more secrets, but to this board, it's not doing entirely a lot, so Mysterious just starting its turn with building a beast. He actually had the option of Plated Beetle, as I just saw, so most likely he picked that option because it does gain him 3 armor. It takes him out of range of the Mind Blast and the Holy Fire, since he can kill it off, since he did get the Stone to Spore in the second option. DeadDraw definitely not happy about that because he just knows that he has to do so much more to be able to close out this game. He doesn't have much card draw left, since he did use the Northshire Cleric already early in this game and he did die. So DeadDraw's basically playing off the top of his deck. He really needs the Anduin. He needs to start pinging face. Does draw that Anduin. That is a really big draw. It doesn't deal with the board, but he will be able to start getting those pings in. If he does draw, say, a dragon next turn, this Dustbreaker will be activated, meaning he can clean up all these free-frees next turn. And if he ever draws, say, a Shadow Visions, he can start going ping, Shadow Visions, and can sell lethal quite easily.
Yeah, and also the fact that, let's say, for example, if Mysterious doesn't get any lifesteals, then it could be a 2-turn lethal from DeadDraw. If he does get a Mind Blast like you were talking about, see if he gets any lifesteal. Nothing really there that's too powerful. There's the Stealth Beast, which you are a big fan of. Would you go for would you go for the Panther or the Tiger here in this scenario?
I usually just go for the cheaper option because you do really want to open up
that's the big option.
What you can do. But I don't think you really care about... I guess since you could play this turn, you go for the Panther, but you really just want those lifesteal minions since you do know the Anduin's currently up. DeadDraw did draw a Dustbreaker, which is quite nice, but he also has this Giggling Inventor that he bounced back from the Freezing Trap. So you could have played that to try to prevent the damage.
Is
that's
lethal?
Actually insane pickup by Mysterious. That's actually
that's
just lethal with
yeah.
the kill command. And yeah, DeadDraw just drew an Anduin a bit too late, and Mysterious got that stealth minion that DeadDraw couldn't interact with. Manages to pick up the final damages he needs to close out the game.
Yeah, so well done to Mysterious. Picks up that first win with a Secret Hunter. I know a guy that we know pretty well. He's a big fan of a Secret Hunter.
Definitely is.
And that's going to be none other than Board Control. He's going to join us once again onto the desk.
Yeah, you do love to see a good Secret Hunter win.
Well, too bad you can really do much for yours.
Damn.
Feels bad, man. But yeah, so good to see you here. Already looking at the matchup. I've seen you were watching that first match. I've seen you do a bit of cheers whenever you kind of seen the Anduin get played. You're like, oh, that's really good and stuff like that. See, whenever you're looking at this and seeing what Mysterious has left, if you're DeadDraw in this situation, what would you kind of queue for?
So DeadDraw has basically all his 3 decks are good against all of Mysterious's 3 decks. So just the Hunter was basically a problem. The Hunter's already got the win. DeadDraw won't be too worried about that. He'll be thinking, I can 3-0 this Paladin, I can 3-0 this Token Druid. So he'll just probably maybe comfort pick as the Priest. We've seen him queue that a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to see him just queue it again.
Yeah, what do you think, James?
Yeah, I agree with Ball completely that Mysterious will have a really rough time with this Odd Paladin. I don't think Odd Paladin is favored against any of DeadDraw's decks. I think that's the real weak link of Mysterious's lineup, and I wouldn't be surprised if DeadDraw actually ends up just sweeping the Paladin.
Is this the only Paladin that we see here at the tournament? I think so.
Yep.
Pretty sure that is.
Yeah, definitely is.
Of course, Bor, you've probably memorized everybody's deck list. But you're a big fan of Odd Paladin, James. I'm looking forward to seeing how you analyze that.
I play it in HGG every week. I'm a resident Paladin expert.
Yeah, you played it on Wednesday night there against Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Yeah, what went wrong, Sheep?
A lot.
He managed to win.
Yeah, I'm just not that great, unfortunately.
He said it. Let's get it clipped. Sheep is not good at the game anymore. But do you know who
I'm
is
here.
good at the game? DeadDraw and Mysterious, and they're going to get underway with their second matchup, which will be that Token Druid versus that Priest.
So it is the Token Druid versus the Priest. Oh, it's not.
Is it Token Druid?
Yeah, it's Token
Yeah.
Druid, sorry. So
It's
here,
gonna be James.
yeah, so DeadDraw has played this matchup before. He played it against Falcone, and it's actually his first match of the top 8. He narrowly lost that game. It's very hard, this matchup. If
It was like a
Mysterious
28 damage lethal turn from, I think, Falcone won him that.
Yeah, because Falcone, basically in the match, he just kept making boards that DeadDraw had to deal with, and DeadDraw just eventually ran out of removal. Falcone managed to stick a few minions. He did have the Savage Roar and the Branching Pass, and even with a few minions, you can easily end out of the game if you have those 2 cards.
So a bit of early ramp there as well for Mysterious. Gets him that Wild Growth on 2, which is so good and really hard for Druids to fall behind in the game, and especially if he picks up a UI, then it's just kind of rumbles on from there, and then it makes DeadDraw's life a whole lot harder. And still, for another time in this tournament, he doesn't pick up the Anduin earlier on.
Yeah, exactly what Mysterious is looking for in the early game here. DeadDraw, he had the Cleric, could have played it early, but instead holding it back, thinking he might want to play Dustbreaker, doesn't want his Cleric to die for free if he wanted to kill, say, a Chain Gang. It also was going to buff the health on this Twilight Drake, so I quite like this play here from DeadDraw, just playing it slow, waiting for Mysterious to invest in the board, and then reacting accordingly.
Also opts to not coin out the Twilight Drake. It just he wishes to save that coin for maybe later on with maybe a Wild Pyromancer play with the Northside Cleric.
You also see there Malfurion gets picked up for Mysterious. That's always going to be good. You can start punching on through and even start armoring up. There may be not as much armor up tools that this Token Druid has compared to, you know, the Togwaggle Druid or even the Mali Druid, the more controlled orientated, but still getting that Malfurion, you can opt to go for the quick punches, try and set up lethal as quickly as possible, or you just start armoring up, and then there's no way for DeadDraw to win, because of course he's a Priest who needs so much damage into your armor before he can go for that 19 damage combo.
Yeah, Mysterious definitely going to have to decide which line he wants to take, aggressive or passive this matchup, and he'll see that based on his hand context as well. But DeadDraw does choose to just clean this board a little bit here, draw a card as well.
Yeah, drawing cards is very important for DeadDraw because eventually you really want to just draw into that Anduin, so you can start going with your game plan of the Anduin pings plus the Mind Blast to close out the game, and you just really hope that Mysterious doesn't have the Malfurion, because having Malfurion puts DeadDraw in quite a rough position, definitely on turn 7, because as you said, Mysterious can go with either option. You can go for the armor up, more passive plan, or you can go for maybe the aggressive route with that hero power.
Yeah, so a couple of options for Mysterious to take in consideration if what playstyle, like you did point out, Bor, go for the aggressive or go for the more safer play. Don't have to worry about a potential instant lethal knockout that we know that DeadDraw could just pull from thin air. He already has one of those Mind Blast inside of the hand, but still no Anduin for him. If he would top deck this, that would be pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely. Mysterious here opting not to play the Death Knight. He wants to kill this Northside Cleric before the card draw starts snowballing here, knowing if DeadDraw draws too many cards, he will just have all the answers to all the plays he can make, and he's identified that eliminating the Cleric seems to be the best line here.
Yeah, definitely want to get rid of all card draw options that DeadDraw has. Ooh, this is actually quite interesting because since you don't clear off this Northside Cleric, if DeadDraw picks up, say, a Power Wedge Shield, and seeing as he does have the second Wild Pyromancer in hand, he can just go, like, say, Wild Pyromancer, go Power Wedge Shield and Divine him. And that could just be really bad for Mysterious, but unfortunately DeadDraw doesn't have that.
I wonder.
Yeah, I think
right now.
If DeadDraw had the Divine Him, he might have played it last turn. Mysterious identifies this and therefore just wants to push the extra 3 damage here, expecting Dustbreaker to come down regardless, right?
Yeah, so that's exactly what's going to happen. Quite unfortunate for DeadDraw inside of this matchup where he's drawn both of his Mind Blast. He didn't get any from Shadow Vision, so with Anduin, he is now capped at a potential 16 burst damage. That is it. So all Mysterious has to do is get out of that limit, which shouldn't be too hard, especially whenever he goes for this Malfurion play. And this will, I think that's going to be the key. Is he going to armor up, or is he going to start punching face? That's the real question, I would say, for it. Nourish as well can be used for a bit of card draw.
Yeah, definitely. One thing Mysterious doesn't want to let happen is he can just armor up a lot, but if he loses board, then all the minion damage will come in and the armor he gains is going to become irrelevant. So he's got to make sure he just keeps a stranglehold of the board here without committing too much into the Psychic Scream as well, we see from DeadDraw.
DeadDraw just developing this Twilight Drake. Finally, he has been holding on to this card a long time, but now is a fine turn to play it down.
Yep, it is the last dragon in his hand. He was probably holding it because of the Dustbreaker before, but now the Twilight Acolyte is stranded unless the dragon is picked up.
But there isn't really that big, big minions that Acolyte would really want to steal anyway. It's not as if you're playing against an even lock with Mountain Giants with a Lich King. It's going to be a lot smaller, but then all of a sudden these guys just get buffed up in one turn and you're dead.
So Mysterious running out of options here, so he just opts to go for the Nourish for the cards. He doesn't really pick up anything that interesting. He does have double branching paths, so he could opt to buff up his minions, but I don't see a reason why, since you do have the Malfurion hero power to clean up this Dustbreaker. Mysterious really just looking for just options such as the Whispering Woods and the Soul of the Forest. Since DeadDraw doesn't run any Master Spells in his deck, it's quite hard to deal with that since you've already seen one Pyromancer being used. Though DeadDraw does have both the Psychic Screams already.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest counters to a Token Druid is Master Spell. Just completely ruins your board, even if you have that Whispering Woods and Soul of the Forest combo. Means nothing whenever all gets silenced. Unfortunately, DeadDraw has not added in that tech card for that specific play. So it will be more difficult for him. Instead, he does have a good bit of board clear, but for how long can he keep up this board presence, which he needs to do? Get a bit of tempo, get the board wide, start punching in a lot of damage. Alex Straza can essentially just provide 15 damage to the face whenever it eventually gets picked up as well.
Yep, and Mysterious here, he actually has double branching paths. Again, this is another versatile card he can choose. Do I want to just use these for armor to potentially get out of range later, or does he want to save them for a board clear? After picking up UI now, he needs to try and dump his hand. So we'll see how he does this. But maybe Giggling Inventor plus, he could even Soul the Forest here early, just to protect from another Pyromancer here.
Yes, this also means that the board is relatively wide, so you do have, as a DeadDraw, you do have to be wary of dying from, say, double Savage Roar plus a Branching Pass. We already see two of those cards in Mysterious's hand. So DeadDraw really just has to figure out how he can efficiently clear off this board, as well as developing his own board to contest.
Yeah, so Mysterious has set up lethal here if nothing were to happen, but I imagine
you're really quick at counting. I was sitting there counting up really slowly, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's lethal. I was like, okay, let's go with that.
You just have to be good at your 2x tables.
Hey, I beat you with lethal yesterday, so what are you going to say for yourself, Sheep, huh?
Just no words, no comment.
Didn't find lethal with your odd pal against Bulgaria, though, did you?
I mean, there's no lethal to be spotted there. I would have hoped there would be lethal, but...
We will see an odd paladin coming up if Mysterious does take this win, which at the moment he is geared up to do so. He has a lot of, still armor gain tools. Good bit of board clear as well. Can also stack the board with a Spreading Plague if DeadDraw goes too wide. Still doesn't have the Anduin, however, inside of his hand. Has another Scream. But after that Scream comes down, then really what else can you do?
Yeah.
So Mysterious actually ultimate infestations here. He does end up discarding maybe one or two cards. If he doesn't draw an Arcane Tyrant, then he's going to discard a card on the following turn. But he is ahead, essentially ahead in fatigue.
It's a rough one there, Savage Roar.
Yep.
Definitely rough.
Yeah, not what Mysterious wants to see, but I think with no other way to develop board, UI in there was just the only play he could make, just so his next turns are decent as well. This Twilight Drake here is going to be a 4/10 with no silence, as we said, in DeadDraw's deck. That's going to be a huge problem for him as well.
It's a bit of an awkward turn here for DeadDraw. What kind of options is he looking at here? Could go for the Geist if he wants to. Get rid of Naturalizes, get rid of the Spellstone. I don't think there is any Naturalizes inside of Mysterious's deck, but certainly those Spellstones would be the prime target for DeadDraw, and also just develops another minion which doesn't just get traded out by that ghoul on the board. Instead, he's going to have to go for the trade with the face as well.
So this minion, this 5/5 minion, is probably one of the best targets for the Twilight Acolyte, and as you said, the Skulking Geist is a very big deal, since you do take away those spell stones, and you've seen Mysterious draw so many cards, so it's very likely that Mysterious might have drawn a spell stone off that ultimate station, and just playing 2 minions on board is just quite nice.
Yep. Looks like he's just going to use the powered shield first. This one discard it. Hits with another powered shield. This is going to make potentially an even bigger minion for him to steal later on as well.
And that goes for the Geist also, so a play that we expected will become initiated. There goes an Arcane Tyrant. Would have liked to pick that up before he did mill away his Savage Roar, but nonetheless that can be used in combination with that Spreading Plague as well if DeadDraw still does decide to try and get board presence. And, you know, we see that one Giggly Inventor get picked up. That's going to be pretty good for a Spreading Plague target because there isn't really any options that Mysterious could use that on.
Since the 5/5 does survive, Mysterious can actually push quite a lot of damage this turn. He always has this Malfurion Hero Pass, so this is definitely the 5 damage going to face. So you could be putting DeadDraw to 18 HP and developing a few minions, and you're always threatening lethal at this point.
Yeah, he can also make a really big flute here if he wants, because it's a 3/4 base stats and gains health for every card in your hand.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a 3/10 if he wanted, but chooses to save this flute maybe for a Tyrant or a Giggling Inventor or maybe a Chain Gang.
Yeah, Chain Gang more than likely would be one of the main ones, and you know, even potentially just tempo out an Arcane Tyrant for 0 as well. Yep. Seen people do that play also.
Ooh, the Anduin picked up here, and that will kill the 5/9 on board.
It definitely will kill the 5/9 on board, though you can't clear off the Twilight Drake and the Scarab, but eventually you will have to play down the Anduin if you want any chance of winning this game.
It's still going to be tricky for him because he can only be capped at 16 damage a turn with what he has. He really now needs to start fishing for that Alexstrasza and that's the next kind of combo piece that he really needs. It. He has had issues currently with where he draws one but not the other. This time he draws Anduin, but Alexstrasza is nowhere to be seen.
Since DeadDraw did opt to trade in a ping, Mysterious doesn't quite have lethal right here. If the Scarab did stick on board, however, he would have 18 damage. But right now, Mysterious is just trying to find another way of making a relatively nice-sized board that doesn't overcommit too much and does force an answer from DeadDraw.
Yeah, definitely trying to find the balance here. Like maybe 1 Giggling Inventor now, but you could go 2 Giggling Inventors. Is that too much on board? Is it not enough? Because you don't want to go too slow and then end up dying to the Anduin pings eventually, but you don't want to go too fast and lose to the Screaming that's in hand as well. So we'll have to see what he does here.
I think that Mysterious definitely wants to fit in the Malfurion Hero Power every turn, because since DeadDraw is in Anduin mode, he doesn't have the normal Priest Hero Power anymore, so his healing is limited. He only has a few cards to heal, the Divine Hymn, the Holy Fires, though he can Shadow Visions for more copies of them.
So you can see that he's going to start punching the majority of this damage. It puts DeadDraw in extremely low conditions. Does have a Drake, which he can play and attempt to survive for just a little bit longer, but it's really just the case of how long can he survive, how long can he keep this up. Go for the ping, clears off a minion, which is another reason why Anduin is fairly strong inside of this matchup.
Yeah, just clearing up the board so that Savage Roar and stuff won't quite kill him yet.
The second Primordial Drink is actually quite nice because he can just do, say, if Mysterious does play down this Floop's Giggling Inventor, DeadDraw can do a similar play to what he did last turn, though he will be taking a bit of damage this turn because I think we might see Mysterious just clean up this Primordial Drake this turn, maybe with a swipe. He'll develop the Floop's Giggling and also be able to fit in a Hero Power to the face or just clean up this Skulking Geist.
Yeah, the way it's going, it certainly is in favor of Mysterious. He has a good bit of health. Doesn't have to worry about any of that burst damage really affecting him unless Alexstrasza would have gone and played. Still haven't seen her being picked up as of yet for DeadDraw. And that double branching paths have been sitting in that hand for quite some time. He could potentially use one of them for card draw if he wants to try and get another Whisper of the Woods and you know, even just armor up just to make sure he's never going to die.
Yeah. So he's going here for the Tyrants over the second Giggling Inventor. Just wants a board which isn't weak to Dustbreaker or the Pyromancer. with these 4 HP minions. Oh, just one. Yeah, he's really just thinking this is enough damage to kill him. I don't need to invest any more into the board.
Seems to be. You know, you see still one Psychic Scream, which has been in DeadDraw's hand for quite some time, and if he uses that, then DeadDraw starts thinking to himself, oh wait, I've just used my entire board clear for his Whisper of the Woods and Soul of Force combo.
Yeah, and that's why we see him holding back the Psychic Scream here, using the Drake, just getting ahead on board now for one of the first times.
Yeah, as I said, he did just do a similar thing as he did last turn, play the Primordial Drake, ping off a minion. Since the Primordial Drake is a taunt, it just soaks up a lot of damage. It soaks up 8 damage. Since you know there's no spell stones after you Skulking Geist, it's very hard to actually deal with this minion, apart from cards such as Swipe, and you've already seen one last turn. So if Mysterious actually wanted to remove this minion, he might have to actually commit one of his damage cards, such as Savage Roar or Branching Paths with the hero power, but you really just don't want to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I imagine Mysterious will opt away from that and just Noah share, get some more options, see what he picks up, and try and find like maybe a second swipe here might remove the 4/8.
See what he picks up. Chain Gang Tyrant's pretty good as well. Gets another 4/4. The UI is a bit useless here in this scenario because he doesn't want to mill any more cards, and potentially then Fatigue could come into a big part of the play. But certainly I would say the Arcane Tyrant and the Chain Gang are both pretty good pickups. And it is going to be then that combo with that flip where you can play another Tyrant. 4-0 just instantly creates a lot of stats on the board that then DeadDraw does have to find an answer to. And there you go, a Savage Roar as well being put in. Puts a lot of pressure onto DeadDraw at this stage inside of the match.
So here, Mysterious opts to play both Arcane Tyrants because he wants to draw out that second Psychic Scream since he did pick up that Ultimate Infestation. And he also opts to just use up the Savage Roar to clean up the Primordial Drake. He really wants this board to be cleaned up just with the Psychic Scream, so he can just Ultimate Infestation next turn and potentially just draw back those Tyrants and play them straight back down.
Yeah, however, the Dustbreaker was picked up from DeadDraw, which gives him another way to clear the board. And Mysterious, having used Savage Roar, burnt a Savage Roar, he's really limited his burst now to just these branching paths. Not much burst from hand at all, apart from this UI. So DeadDraw might just be comfortable on the board here now. Oh, he's even going Giggling Inventor before the Dustbreaker now to try and maybe soften up the board a little bit.
Yeah, this is kind of falling downhill for Mysterious. He hasn't managed to develop a board in any shape. Can go for the Sirenite plus the strong Shell Scavenger as well if he wants to go for that play, which just gets even more minions static onto the board. Doesn't have to worry about, you know, a Pyromancer clearing it off. Doesn't even have to worry about Dustbreaker clearing them off because then they'll be up to 5 HP at that stage.
DeadDraw also understanding it's very hard for him to die in this position if he plays down the Giggling Inventor since one swipe's already been used and the second swipe would not even be enough. He would have to have had a Spellstone or something like that, but you know those are gone since he played the Skulking Geist. So it was a really safe play by DeadDraw.
Yeah, and holding back the Dustbreaker seems to have paid off a lot here. Now he's just able to clear up with the Dustbreaker and the ping after trading this Giggling Inventor. And Mysterious is really, even though he has the Wisdom Woods in his deck, he doesn't have them yet. So DeadDraw's just going to get a position on board. Maybe if he gets the Alexstrasza, he can just start going offensive almost.
Yeah, you can also see a second screen being picked up, so even if there is going to be another hefty board be implemented by Mysterious, and there you go, he does pick up that combo, but Psychic Scream, it's there.
The combo isn't even that good right now because your hand is so low on cards that even if you just Whispering Woods and solve the Frost Rhino, you only get 4 wisps with the Death Rattle effect, and basically DeadDraw's board just literally contests that already.
Yeah, it seems to be a complete reverse of this matchup where we thought that DeadDraw looking pretty scary for him, a lot of early presence for Mysterious, and Mysterious just, he's drawn dead, hasn't managed to pull out any of the major plays that he needs to get happen. That Savage Roar mill was very devastating in the terms of the burst damage that he could have provided. He's going to go even deeper into his deck and go for this aggressive Ultimate Infestation. He's going to start taking fatigue damage at this stage.
Since there is one swipe, if I remember correctly, left in the deck, you see it right now, DeadDraw actually doesn't have any healing cards in his hand, and basically Mysterious just sets up lethal this way. And yeah, I think Mysterious just wins since no healing was drawn by DeadDraw.
Yeah, DeadDraw had the Alex, 2 potential Divine Hymns, and a Shadow Vision he could have picked up, but just doesn't have them. Mysterious could have UI'd a minion here and go for board, but identifies the out here by just going face with the UI.
Yeah, very nicely done by Mysterious. I feel like just understood that if this game goes any longer, I'm very unlikely to win, and I just have to hope that DeadDraw doesn't have any healing card, and he just knew that he could draw his entire deck, assuring that he did pick up that swipe.
That's a bit of a sickener there for DeadDraw. Didn't want that to happen. Mysterious looking chill. Honestly, every time I watch Mysterious, it's as if he's a statue. He just doesn't move. No facial expressions. Unlike you, Boar, where you are one of the most expressionist. You and Toast, I would say, are pretty,
yep.
Or unless you're Paradox and, you know, rocking about with the finger gun. Different stuff like that. But yes, look at him. Chill. He knows where he's at. He's been here before many times in this scenario. He knows what he needs to do to get the job done and see himself into that finals as well. DeadDraw, can he pull himself back into this?
Yeah, even though it's 2-0 for Mysterious now and it's looking great, he does have that Paladin left, which, as you mentioned earlier, this is the weak link in his lineup versus DeadDraw and a deck that could be swept. So I think DeadDraw won't be feeling bad at all here, even though he's 2-0 down, knows how to play these matches against Paladin, and maybe he can get the sweep in here.
Yep. Though Paladin does have 3 chances to take a win, and it's quite likely. Paladin's not an awful deck. Like, if you draw the right cards with Paladin, you say you have your level ups, you make an early board that sticks, you can just instantly take out a win from nowhere, since it is a very aggressive deck, and sometimes aggressive decks just do that.
Yeah. We have seen that in the past in Mysterious Paladin as well. It hasn't been great in some series before against me as well. If you could just get the hand with the Corridor Creepers for the refill, that seems to be the key with it against all of these slower decks. He's going to be looking for the level up, the Corridor Creeper, and then if you get, say, the Purifiers more, that's just going to prevent the AoE from the Priest, the AoE from the Warlock, and that just will probably be good enough as well. Though
DeadDraw has basically put in cards to improve the matchup against Paladin quite a bit. He does have cards such as Giggling Venom in his Control Priest. Like, Control Priest is very favored against the Paladin anyway, but he's made it even more favored with these niche tech cards.
Yeah, this is where the matchup this is why he brought Priest, is to deal with these aggressive aggro decks. Still haven't really seen, I don't think, as much as what Priest can provide and what can offer. He's had some pretty rough matchups there, one of them being, you know, that Druid that we just did see. Had a lot of armor gain, didn't get his Shadow Visions early on.
Yep, but here we see the cards DeadDraw's looking for. Pyromancer to clear boards, Dustbreaker to clear boards. He has both of them and the coin to activate the Pyromancer, so that's pretty much everything he would ever want. Mysterious is now going to try and build a board which can survive the AoE from these 2 cards, so maybe he keeps them more here. What do you think, Sheep?
I like keeping the Maul because it has potential to get the Divine Shield Maul. And
can you name that Divine Shield Maul?
Is it the Purifies Maul?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Good boy. He's learning Hearthstone.
I am learning. I know the really bad one's the Sacred Maul.
Good.
Because I always get it.
Can you name the other 2?
Blast Maul and Champion's Maul.
Oh.
He's on it today.
Oh, yeah, I am.
He's on it.
I've done my homework, haven't
He does play Paladin all day.
That's true, and somehow he still loses with it against Bulgaria, but it's a little bit shaky there. But I'm sure you guys, Hong Kong next, easy enough. Easy enough for the UK boys, and sure everybody has all faith that UK will get some good talent there at BlizzCon. And talking about UK talent, we will be leading into the start of our next match, which is going to be the Odd Paladin versus that Control Priest. Good hand from DeadDraw, has all the board clear, and Mysterious, he does not know that.
He definitely doesn't know that. Like, as Mysterious, you try to play around ball clears as best as possible, but eventually you will have to just submit to that and just end up dumping your hand, since it will probably be the best way you win the game. You can't play around AoE forever, since this is a bad matchup. You just have to hope that your opponent doesn't have the answers.
Yeah, Mysterious knows that by turn 7, Psychic Scream is going to be too powerful, so you just hope there's no Pyromancer or Dustbreaker, or play around them if you can. We see at the moment, he could just go for like Hero Power, then he can go Champions more next turn and build up a really big board for level up, and he's just basically, just building a decent board. This board will have to be removed, and he's not committing any resources from hand here. No one-shots played, playing around this AoE.
Though the Powered Shield is quite a big pickup by DeadDraw. It means the Wild Pyromancer against additional 2 health, so it's harder to remove from Mysterious's side. And DeadDraw also knows that there's no reason you have to go for Wild Pyromancer this turn, since a level up can only come down the turn after.
Vineclaber's always a good draw for a Paladin. It generates a lot of value that Paladin does need. Ending towards more that late game, turn 7 at that stage, it's either you have killed your opponent or they have used a lot of their tools to clear your board, and then you start replenishing and have that refill. That Paladin does have a lot of good refill mechanics as well inside it. Lost in the jungle, you get another 2 guys, and then all of a sudden, you're back with a completely same board, and DeadDraw has to deal with that all over again.
So
He's got the nuts.
Yeah.
DeadDraw does have basically all the removal he needs. Even drew the second Dustbreaker, so he's just free to play the first Dustbreaker down right here. Has the Primordial Drake in hand, so he's just going to play these Dustbreakers before he plays the Primordial Drake, since that is... Well, actually, he even has the Twilight Drake, so he's just free to play his AoE whenever he seems fit.
Is there any way he comes back from this board?
Possibly he could end up with a board that sticks after all 3 AoEs come down, but it's unlikely because DeadDraw here, he didn't play the Pyromancer last turn, so he could set up this Pyromancer here, which definitely sticks on board. And once a Pyromancer sticks on board, all the dudes you make, they're just dead. So he needs to somehow find a way to kill this Pyromancer, which will be Vinecleaver on turn 7. Maybe Vinecleaver, the sheer value of it, might be able to get him there long term if he finds a way to deal with this Primordial Drake as well. It's going to be really, really difficult though for Mysterious.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. Like, as you said, the only ways to deal with 3-4 Wild Pyromancer with no board is the Vinecleaver or the Leroy Jenkins, but Leroy Jenkins is definitely not the card you want to just waste into this Pyromancer. It's one of your main tools of ending this game, along with like cards such as Blasting of Might.
Yeah, possibly if Mysterious gets this Vinecleaver out, start punching face, getting DeadDraw very, very weak, we could just see Leroy plus the double, what's the one drop called? I messed up. I was going to say Blessing of Kings, but I always get those 2 mixed up. Don't say it cheap. I mean, you want to press the bell to make you feel better. You want to press the bell?
Yep, definitely do.
He's pressed the bell. Demo's got oof, def and chat for Demo.
Ouch. But we do see there the Gluttonous Ooze picked up, so this Vinecleaver plan that we were just talking about, DeadDraw also has to counter that as well. We see the tech cards. He might not have had Master Spell in his deck for Token Druid, but you can see he's really got all the cards he needs for this Paladin.
He knew this was going to happen. He knew he was going to play against Mysterious and his odd Paladin, and he made sure that he built the best deck.
DeadDraw's just a prophet. He's just sees the future.
It's free real estate.
But yeah, this game looking very bad for Mysterious right now. He's not going to be happy once he sees the Gluttonous Ooze come down. Basically, he's lost all control of board right now. And as the aggro deck, once you lose control of board, you either have 2 options. You either kill your opponent or you concede.
Every single threat that Mysterious has played, DeadDraw's is top decked.
Yep.
The complete counter to it. That's absurd. So if you're Mysterious, do you think about that settings concede button?
Yeah, you're thinking about that. You're thinking about next game, what you're going to have for dinner maybe.
A lot going on in your mind right now.
How nice would that trophy look in my trophy cabinet? Could be another option.
Yeah, I mean, he might be starting to get a bit concerned now. Is my Paladin going to get swept? Doubt might come into his mind as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Especially whenever DeadDraw still has a couple more control matchups. You have Druid still to play.
You have the Druid and you have the Even Log. But I think the Priest actually is probably the best deck of all those against Mysterious's Paladin, because you just run so many removal tools, such as you've seen this whole game, like Primordial Drakes, Dustbreakers, Wild Pyromancers,
Screams.
Just a very hard matchup for Mysterious, so like, I wouldn't be surprised if Mysterious isn't shaken by this and just has a clear mind going into game 2.
Yeah, definitely.
The second Paladin game, rather.
Just play down the patches, you know, might give him a bit of a chance.
Yeah, it can test the Drake a little bit. I'm thinking about from DeadDraw's side, he has the Mind Blast in hand, currently has 11 on board. Second Mind Blast off the top, Visions, he could just get there.
No one DeadDraw, probably. There goes the good old Baku, the Moon Eater, or Patches is...
Oh!
That's just lethal from DeadDraw. It's just more Mind Blast, boom, boom, boom.
What have you done to this cast? You've Caster's Curse Mysterious.
Oh, I've like profited DeadDraw. I did speak to him backstage, and he said his name. He was like, he called himself DeadDraw, so he wouldn't draw dead in game, and maybe here it is.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, I feel like DeadDraw has drawn dead for a lot of his series. He hasn't been picking up the Anduin on time, but maybe his tides have turned.
Yeah, this could be a potential sweep coming out here as well from DeadDraw. Who knows? You know, looking at the matchups, yeah, not as good as what the Priest was, because we've seen how much tech cards that Priest had to counter everything that we've seen Mysterious try to develop on board. And even going into it, still, I believe that Evenlock has Hellfire, has Defile, which is still extremely strong, against the Paladin, and it also has the Druid, which has the Swipes and also has the Spreading Plague.
Yep. Also, in DeadDraw's Warlock, we see a lot of players cutting cards like Doomsayer and going for heavier cards like maybe Boma and stuff. We see DeadDraw, he has the Doomsayer in his even lock. He's teched it more for this aggro matchup, and that will pay off for him here in this.
He also runs an Ooze in that as well, so that can get rid of the Vine
Also,
Cleaver.
it does have a Curse of Weakness. So
Yeah,
maybe
if
it ever comes down
and
to turn
Mossy.
8, you can go Curse of Weakness, Mossy, the free upgraded board of dudes, and yeah, that's pretty good too.
So if you're DeadDraw here, Boar, do you go for the Druid or do you go for the Warlock?
He's just going to go with whatever's more comfortable for him, I think. Yeah, I saw him playing some Druid backstage, might just do that, but we see the Warlock there. It doesn't really matter at this point of the series what he picks.
Hey, that's screen sniping. That's referee. Or cheating again.
Again?
Hold up.
So it will be then that even lock being queued up against that odd Paladin once again. You can see that Doomsayer that we just talked about will be picked up, so that's going to give Mysterious a bit of stickiness that will be stuck there. Doesn't have any way in the hand currently to clear that off, and even Defile getting picked off, or picked up, should I say, is also pretty strong for clearing out those 1 health minions.
So once again, as Mysterious, you want to keep this more because you want the Purifiers more. Also, level up is always a key card against these control matchups. You just want to make the dudes more powerful and just start pushing a lot of damage. So not surprised by this mulligan from Mysterious, just keeping the weapon and the level up.
What do you think about the Blessing of Might there?
I like the Blessing of Might if he had a 1-drop. Or 2 1-drops even. You can just go 1-drop, Blessing of Might. That's like the 1-drop cold blood from Odd Rogue.
Right.
So I keep it a lot against control matchups. So yeah, definitely might have just kept that as well.
Mysterious did swap it out here for a 1-drop though. Glowtron probably going to come down. Could go from a coin 1, but that'd be so weak to the Doomsayer. I imagine he's not going to do that.
So you can see that the pieces are starting to fall into place. DeadDraw can just go ahead and drop the Doomsayer. No real way that Mysterious can kill it out. Just completely cuts the turn and then gives DeadDraw a nice follow-up on turn 3. And potentially even that Mountain Giant could be a bit of a stifler for Mysterious, is the fact that there's no removal inside of his deck. He has to trade in all these minions, and if DeadDraw's going to try and stall out the round, there's not going to be enough minions on the board to stick. That then can start contesting that Mountain Giant.
So not playing the Doomsayer that actually came back to bite DeadDraw because Mysterious did pick up the Arceus Veteran and the Blessing Might. So even if he plays down the Doomsayer here, it just gets traded off on board. Also, Defile doesn't actually clear this, and this is a lot of damage already being outputted by Mysterious.
Yeah, I imagine DeadDraw's plan was to go for a Defile Doomsayer on turn 4, but it looks like Mysterious is completely countered this. He could even go like for the Righteous Protector and the Blessed Maw here, and then trade off his 1 HP minion, and then he's just playing around Defile, playing around everything that DeadDraw could do, and he's pushing so much damage here as well. Yeah,
like if he does go for that play right now, he does push an additional 6. DeadDraw's already at 11 HP by turn 4. With no Hooked Reaver as well, can't make use of that being a low life total, so
no spell stone either.
This is basically how Mysterious wins the series.
Yeah, it's not the start that we thought we would have expected, so certainly that big misstep. Not playing that Doomsayer has come in to bite DeadDraw, and certainly does get punished for that. Another 6 to face, and this is where we're going to have to see some pretty good top decks, and the Boy Wonder does it again as Spellbreaker does get picked up, removes all of those buffs, and
he also has Spellstone as well to pick up as well.
He's just narrowly escaped that one.
But with the Spellbreaker, you do develop the minion on board that can get a trade in the following turns, and Mysterious definitely not happy about that. But you have already pushed so much damage, and it doesn't take that much more to end out the game.
Yeah, and this turn he can develop the 6-6, knowing that Spellbreaker's gone, a taunt in the way. It's going to be really difficult for DeadDraw to just clear up the 6-6.
Yep. He also cleans up the Spellbreaker, since he is scared of cards like Defile. Like if he left up the Spellbreaker.
He's just done it again, guys. He's just top decked another great answer.
Yeah, this Retriever is very good this turn.
Mysterious can counter it though with the Fungalmancer.
Yeah, definitely. If you go Fungalmancer here, then you can buff up your Blood Knight into an 8/8, so it takes a nice value trade. Though it is very weak to the Defiles that DeadDraw has in hand.
Still pushes another free damage then.
Definitely does, and then it just makes it closer and closer to lethal. If Mysterious starts picking up cards like Leroy Jenkins, maybe Vine Cleaver, then this game could end very quickly.
Yeah, I believe that Vine Cleaver, I would say, would be more of the safer one to get. Than he doesn't have lethal at the moment, and see if DeadDraw picks up. Can he actually go ahead and clear this off? And there we go, another big old.
That is an insane draw by DeadDraw. It's basically the perfect card here. You just put down another taunt along with clearing up the entire board. Mysterious definitely not happy with
First time I think I've seen his head move.
Yeah. He was so close. He was so close. And then he's just seen Mysterious draw off the top of his deck 2 Hooked Reavers and the Spellbreaker.
Yeah, and this is where Mysterious, he starts to draw dead in this scenario.
Yep. Got to start thinking about how am I going to get through the 7-7. You want to use the Void Ripper to maybe flip a Doomsayer, flip a Twilight Drake so you can kill it, but maybe he just has to play it now just to contest the 7-7 here.
Just plays it down as a body, and this, once again, is very weak to Defile, and you see DeadDraw has the second Defile in hand if you choose to use that. You can also develop a Twilight Drake alongside that, and or a Shroom so wishes.
Oh, a Giant!
Yeah, he could play the Giant first, but it does take a bit of damage, but I don't think it matters at this point since it's unlikely to be cleared off, and it could potentially just set up lethal. If,
it doesn't quite set up lethal.
Yeah, if DeadDraw would have to top deck, say, a Bone Mail or a Hellfire.
Knowing what you've just said, he probably will.
Yeah, he instead just decided to hit up as many means that Vine Cleaver here, which would be Mysterious's best play, is now not good at all. Oh, the Leroy, so close.
So close, yet so far. And it's just not looking great for Mysterious. Like,
I think that this is going to come game then for DeadDraw.
I mean, Mysterious can survive with the hero power level up. Just prevent the 7 damage from pushing unless there's a Hellfire or another Spellbreaker or a Spellstone. But it's definitely not looking great for Mysterious because even if he does survive, he's just looking down at the same pressure next turn, and even more with the Lich King.
So you can see also Lich King creates more value, Frostmourne pushes more damage on to Mysterious, and at this stage all he's doing is just drawing dead. Goes for the concede, and we may be on for a reverse sweep for a DeadDraw as he equal things up inside this series with 2 games to 2, and we'll see if he can continue this form, or will Mysterious shake off those last 2 remaining losses and see if he can break on through with that odd Paladin deck.
Yeah, so Mysterious does have that Void Ripper that we saw in the previous game. That is a counter to the potential Spreading Plague, which DeadDraw has, so he has got slight text for this matchup, but still the power of the swipe and just ramp into Malfurion as well is very difficult for the Paladin to deal with. If you were the Paladin here, Sheep, what are you really looking for here to try and beat them?
Of course, once again, you're looking for the level ups, maybe one drop with the Blessing of Might. Of course, it's just similar to all the other games, really. You want that Purifier's Maul to prevent your board from getting swiped off. You just really want to just kill your opponent really fast, and that's the nature of aggro decks, isn't it?
Yeah, so DeadDraw as well from the other side. He hasn't actually played much of the Druid. I feel like he's just been playing Priest-Store tournament long, so we've barely seen any of his Druid at all so far, but it is the Togwaggle Druid he has here.
I think we've seen it once. I think he played it once against Paradox, and he actually did win that matchup. So he has got a win underneath the belt off it. It has been really the Priest which has suffered the majority of his losses, but somehow he still manages to scrape away with the wins, and that's a pretty good hand for DeadDraw,
I think it's probably just a full keep for DeadDraw. This hand's just really amazing. You can go Wild Growth into Oaken Summons, put down an early taunt, early 3/6 taunt, and you also have the swipe to back it up if you ever get if the board ever gets out of hand. But the swipe probably might come down after the Spreading Plague. Just let the board go as wide as possible. You just throw them the Spreading Plague. The turn after, you just swipe, clear off the board, and maybe you can even pressure if you do draw, say, a Branching Paths.
Yeah, DeadDraw even considering coining Wild Growth here for the Wrath next turn, but being able to coin Spreading Plague is so huge in this matchup, I definitely agree with him holding it back here.
You can also see that Baku has been drawn by Mysterious, which is basically just a wasted card slot, because he's never ever going to play that against this type of matchup where he needs to go quick, because the sooner that the Druid stabilizes against you, then you lose.
Yeah.
He also gets the Sacred Maul. The past 2 Mauls he had weren't Sacred Mauls, and in the final game, drawing a Sacred Maul at this point doesn't feel great.
Yeah, he did, however, pick up both these Corridor Creepers, so if DeadDraw is to swipe here, Mysterious has some great refill here. Maybe if a Fungal Man's could be picked up as well, he'll be able to just snowball a nice, narrow board to play around that Spreading Plague.
A couple of options for Mysterious, just depends if he does get that Fungal Mancer, and equally, you know, DeadDraw, he can start getting these big taunts out on the board, and this is where you're going to have to see a lot of the trades coming out from. Mysterious Void Ripper could also be a very strong play here, because then he trades in free off the Recruits and potentially then punch 2, or just keep the Recruits punch in the Flame Elemental and then possibly set up the level up turn.
It is a nice Void Ripper here, but Mysterious only runs one Void Ripper in his deck, and if the Spreading Plague ever comes down, you do really want to hold on to that Void Ripper.
Yeah, I imagine you have to hold it here. Just go for a Sacred Maul just to deal the 2 damage on this. It is a lot weaker on the board, though, but considering DeadDraw kept his whole hand, you have to really imagine there's almost certainly a Spreading Plague that's going to be there.
Goes for the very aggressive nature play style, so he can go for these trades, and he is going to keep the majority of his Paladins up as long as he can.
Since Mysterious does have this level up, he just has to really set up a nice turn to do it. Most likely he won't be able to level up next turn, since we do see a swipe and the coin Spreading Plague.
Yep.
It even draws another swipe. This is basically what Mysterious DeadDraw, basically all that DeadDraw wants, since with the next swipe he can just keep cleaning up the boards. He doesn't even have to play this turn, though. It was quite a nice Spreading Plague, since you have seen the one-off Void Ripper already.
Yeah, he might be thinking to himself, Mysterious just used Void Ripper, maybe he wants me to play Plague for some reason, and just using the swipe here with the second swipe in hand, thinking, this is just good enough to clear up all the stuff. It's very unlikely Mysterious has good refill here, but he does have this double Corridor Creeper.
Yeah, definitely does have the double Corridor Creeper, though Mysterious does go wide once again. DeadDraw still has that Spreading Plague. It's not like it's not going to be good in the matchup. It's always going to be a really good card, and it's seeming very hard for Mysterious to actually find a way to deal damage to the face.
He's still keeping in it at the moment. You know, he's developed a reasonably sized board. What he really needs is that Fungal Mancer to get picked up, pushes a boatload of damage then with those Corridor Creepers as well. But then we know Spreading Plague is always going to be a thing, so the fact that he's also used his Void Ripper just makes it that little bit harder to clear away those beetles. But I think that DeadDraw, all he can do is sit here, armor up, just wait until he draws some of the very good cards, such as Malfurion would be one of the best ones, so then he can start trading in with himself and then also armor up if he needs to.
Yeah, DeadDraw decides his board isn't good enough for a Spreading Plague or a swipe. Just going to develop the taunt. It's going to tank a lot of hits from these minions, soften them up. So maybe the swipe and the Spreading Plague will just end up being better clears next turn.
Yeah, and not playing Spreading Plague on turn 6 also might make Mysterious think that DeadDraw doesn't have it, which means Mysterious might just spread as wide as possible, thinking that DeadDraw doesn't have the Plague, when in fact he actually does.
Yeah, especially with that swipe he played a top deck swipe, not the one he kept, so Mysterious might just think there's no other swipe in hand as well.
So he just trades off the majority of the board, try and push as much damage as he can. Level up could potentially be expended. Also, it makes it easier for them then to go ahead and trade in with those beetles, which could be coming down momentarily. It would seem like, you know, the better play, but he's eyeing up the swipe at the moment, which also gets the majority of the job done as well.
Yeah, DeadDraw might be thinking here, if he gets to turn 10, on mana-wise, he can just go Plague plus Branching Pass, and then even the level up won't even be able to contest that, so he might be holding his Plague back for then. Swipe here pretty much clears at the board, so that might just be good enough, but it is your second swipe, and then you're out of swipes now for reactive plays.
Yeah, definitely. Like, normally, even with the leveled up board, if you go Plague, your Plague tanks a lot of the damage, and you can just swipe afterwards to just clean up the board completely. DeadDraw just opting to go for drawing cards here. I think he will be holding on to the Plague, as you mentioned, for maybe a turn on turn 10, or just maybe an even bigger board.
Ooh, double level up.
This is actually quite interesting, because double level up kind of counter his play since you make really big 5/5 minions. And to be honest, since DeadDraw has been using a lot of his removal already, like the swipe, as you said, there's only one swipe left. If these dudes stick, he manages to level up again. It's actually not looking great for DeadDraw.
No, this is pretty horrific at this stage. He uses one of the plagues, and you talked about possibly going for a branching pass combo. It's just going to get traded off straight away. He thinks, yeah, okay, he can trade, but it'll take him quite a while. It'll take him at least 2 turns to trade off. But because all these guys in all of a sudden are 5/5s, that's pretty massive.
Yeah, maybe DeadDraw played a bit too greedy in this, because if he played the Spring Pick earlier, then the would.
There was just no answer.
Yeah, it was just unlikely to be a scenario where Mysterious would get use of both of his level ups. And even a Blessing might picked up, so he can just Blessing might want the 2/4 corridor creeper to trade it into another spreading play.
Yeah, and that ends up clearing up all but one of these 1/5s. Mysterious gets the UI, but
he also gets to develop another dude because he trades off the Arcus veteran. So, Token, I just feel like, yeah, maybe DeadDraw did play a bit too greedy with his spreading play, since he has used already one swipe. It's just so hard to deal with so many big minions.
I honestly believe that both of these guys aren't actually here because they haven't moved. they do not move. Literally, that level up came out. I was watching to see what DeadDraw reaction hasn't moved his position.
yeah, so
Whoa, what a man. That'd be, I think, you'd probably have a meltdown by that stage, wouldn't you, I'd imagine?
probably.
Probably Sheep as well. I don't know, how would you react, Sheep, if you lost
This match
to that? If you lost to that play?
I really wouldn't be happy with myself. I think I'd look back and
Give the camera the finger guns of death.
I think you think because you had such a great hand, right? You just be thinking, how did I manage to lose this game? I think that might just be what's going through DeadDraw's head right now. But he's still not out of the game yet.
Yeah, the swipe
he managed to
just cleaned up.
But there is this giant Baku. Like normally Baku's not great, but against this board, since you have seen so many removal tools, you know that DeadDraw probably has the ultimate infestation in hand because he did use that wild growth beforehand to ramp up. He can just slam that Baku down and just push through 3 more damage. And unless DeadDraw draws like a naturalize or anything,
that's what I was thinking of.
But he can't play naturalize and infestation in the same turn because he doesn't run any innovates. So even this Baku is just looking good, and I think DeadDraw's still in quite a predicament.
Yeah, so 3 damage push down to 12. UI will get rid of the 5/1 and heal for 5 though, so DeadDraw is okay here. He maybe picks some tyrants as well, just contest the board. And this twig, he has to decide, do you want to swing with the twig this turn into the 3/2? Let yourself die to some things just to get the proc next turn as well?
That could be definitely a consideration, but I think that it just depends. First, you just UI, see what your options are if you do really need to swing it into the minion.
So it gets DeadDraw back up to 17 health at this stage, but looking at what is still on board, that is going to be 12 plus the raid leader and equals 14, so just shy of lethal for Mysterious.
Not quite it, though. He can just play down this Argent Squire with the Blood Knight, make another big minion, but since DeadDraw did drop both Arcane Tyrants, he has a lot of minions on board, along with maybe the branching pass for attack if he chooses to, but he'll probably choose to use that for armor, but he can trade off into Mysterious's board quite well with what he already has.
Glory to the Sindora.
This is still pretty awkward for DeadDraw to deal with. Yeah, sure.
It's a very close game, but I think the fact that DeadDraw did draw that branching pass might be
pretty good as well.
Yeah, it might be the deciding factor into this game, since he can just armor up into out of range of Leroy, and he can clean up this board very well with the naturalize.
But then again, if you're going to naturalize that, it just gives Mysterious an extra 2 cards where he could potentially go ahead and pull a Leroy as well.
Yeah.
You always have to kind of play around that aspect of the game.
Howl is also a nice card. You just gain 6 armor, draw a card. He could have drawn it into, say, another Spellstone, another naturalize, which would have helped out this turn.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point for DeadDraw. He has to try and work out. he could nourish to try and get a plate for next turn or something. Maybe he might want to draw with branching. Hit a spell stone would be great on this raid leader.
I'm just trying to count lethal as I always do.
DeadDraw himself is actually quite close to lethal, but it's not. He's like 6 off, I think.
Yes, since there is a taunt in the way, he can't push the maximum down.
See what he gets off Naturalize. Does he get the Leroy? No, just
No.
2 1-drops, but still has another way of getting the Leroy with just his natural draw.
DeadDraw just going with a lot of value trades right here.
Yeah, setting up for this twig turn next turn, making sure he doesn't die now, and thinking if I have 20 mana next turn, I must be able to get board back.
You can just use the first mana to just double nourish, draw some cards, and then use the remaining mana to just do whatever you want. You have just so many options with 20 mana.
Just another 1-drop.
3 1-drops here, picked up for Mysterious, yeah.
It's just not great. Like, Mysterious was very close. Like, I thought maybe Mysterious could have won this game because of both the level ups, but DeadDraw just had enough, just about enough removal with the swipe and the wrap to clean up a little bit more. If he had left even 1 or 2 more minions alive, then he'd definitely just be dead right now.
Just stacking up the board as much as Mysterious can. It would be pretty hilarious if we did see potentially a Spreading Plague being played there. But another UI will also be picked up, and then he can play that essentially for free, punch with the weapon, and then play whatever he gets from drawing those 5 cards. So I think this is pretty much game for DeadDraw.
So DeadDraw just figuring out what he should do here, if he should just UI phase, pressure, and if he can actually die to any combination of cards in Mysterious' deck. But since he does gain such a lot of armor and he has another 10 mana to spend, it's very likely that DeadDraw can die in this situation. Also picks up the Spreading Plague, plus the Spellstone. He just play down the Spreading Plague. And just play branching paths as well if he wishes to. Maybe for armor, for attack, anything he really wants to. And I think that DeadDraw will end up taking this series.
Yeah, seems to be the case. I've seen Mysterious have just a little bit of a nod there to himself. I think he knows whenever he is defeated, there's nothing in the world unless all of a sudden there's a Deathwing in that deck. It isn't going to be the case, and even if that was the case, Naturalize would have been an answer, and will be DeadDraw answering back, going down 2-0, and he goes for the full sweep against the odd Paladin. So congratulations to DeadDraw. He makes it into the winners final against Paradox. So the 2 M&M guys go out to fight each other. And then it's going to be the 2 new guys who we didn't expect to do so well at this LAN event, goes ahead, and they're going to be playing against each other in a rematch. So, Bor, thank you so much for having us. We're going to sub you out for the main man. Jackie, it's been a pleasure having you on the desk, as always. Yeah,
it was great being here. I'm excited to see who's going to be the potential winner. Definitely a new winner here. DeadDraw played well there. It could be him. We'll have to see.
We can only hope that a bit of a storyline there. Guy comes out of nowhere, just takes the championship home. Good match. It was a good match.
It definitely was a good match. I mean, Mysterious went to a quick start with the 2-0. DeadDraw brought it back against the Odd Paladin. He actually managed to sweep the Odd Paladin, as I mentioned. It was the weak link for Mysterious, so maybe there will be a few regrets in bringing that deck. Though he was quite close in some of those games. It just DeadDraw managed to scrape over at the end.
So, Jackie, you're back.
I am, mate. I am indeed. And it's getting very interesting now as DeadDraw is drawing ever closer to the grand final. He's getting himself into a position where, actually, you know what? Not only is he going to be able to try and contest and fight for that crown, he actually could be in a spot to take it.
Yeah, he's going up against Paradox next as well. And you're looking at it, Paradox, he beat DeadDraw yesterday, so there's always going to be that mentality factor where I beat you once, I can beat you again, but it's Hearthstone.
That is very, very true. Well, let's get into that post-game breakdown, work out exactly the nitty-gritty, because it was the Paladin where Mysterious was struggling. He just couldn't quite get over it. And James, what was going on there? What was causing the issues? Was it more just DeadDraw going huge against Mysterious, or was it just a struggle with that initial composition?
I think DeadDraw, one of the factors on his lineup is that he built his lineup in mind of aggro. Maybe I think it was probably Paladin specifically, since he does have these gluttonous uses, does have these giggling vendors, has a lot of hard removal and just cheap removal as well for the odd Paladin. So if it ever came to him facing a lineup such as Mysterious's that had the odd Paladin, then he would be very happy. And Mysterious chose to play the odd Paladin last, got the the better decks out of the way, but the inevitable still happened, and the odd paladin did get swept.
Yeah, it's just the way that the things have planned out inside the meta, where Odd Paladin has really fallen off, unless you're, more than likely ladder is where Odd Paladin really excels. But in this kind of matchup, in this kind of tournament where these players know exactly how Odd Paladin works, because they play it so much, they know if we just queue control which, that's why we've seen them so much, then we beat. And to be fair play to Mysterious for the only guy bringing Paladin here at this weekend.
Yeah, someone's got to do it, repping the Pally. But we move on to the bracket now and give everyone the true picture of what is going down, where they will be standing. DeadDraw versus Toast Monster. That last game in the lower bracket to see who is going to be working their way up to face off against the man from the upper bracket. It's Paradox. And this is shaped up now of a very interesting final core three. Paradox, Toast Monster, and DeadDraw. Is that any of what we expected to see? Toast Monster, I feel like it's really the only one for me I thought would be up there. DeadDraw, it was a maybe, it was a dark horse potential, but I didn't think we'd be seeing Paradox up there.
No, it is quite a shock. He just played well. He's really done what he's had to do. Him himself, he doesn't even know what he's doing up there half the time, and that's what he says. He's after the match, you could see him go over and go, I don't know what happened. And yeah, fair play to him. He's done well. And I'm sure he will be watching this match ever so carefully.
I think he will. I think he'll definitely keep close eyes on it. And another thing he is going to keep on is winning with support of that PC that he has. And you know what PCs those are, boys, in the end there?
They are PCs from gaming from Corey's PC World.
Well done, Green Sheep. That was lovely. Absolutely wonderful. They are indeed. They're those ESL certified PCs that you can head on over to the link down below if you're interested in checking out, and you can, of course, find them. It's worth it. They're absolutely amazing, endorsed by ESL, because they are wonderful bits of kit. If you want to get the advantage in game, grab yourself one, and you will be fragging like a madman. You'll be dropping cards all over the board. Anything you want to do, you can become a Peggle champion. Those PCs will help you. But guys, that is another series wrapped up. You know what that means. It will be time to speak to the winner, to have a conversation about what went down there, because it was an enthralling series. Mysterious was close, but the man that makes it is DeadDraw as that one draws to a close. Frankie, let's get into it.
2 games down and then an incredible reverse sweep. DeadDraw, tell me how you did it.
Kind of surprised I won. I felt like I played pretty badly in the first couple games, but Odd Paladin is just really bad against my lineup, so, I managed to get there in the end.
And just 2 players stand in the way of you being our Season 5 champion. You've got Toast Monster and then Paradox. Do you think you can get the best of our veteran? He was runner-up last year, so he's going to be pretty tough competition, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a really good player. I mean, my decks should be good against him, but that's the same. I could say that about this game, and that was really close, so we'll see.
Well, if there's anything we've learned from last year, never underestimate Toast Monster. That was a crunchy sentence, but we've clearly learned the same thing about you this year. So good